Alright, welcome back guys. This is going to be part 2 of this drawing. I'm going to try to talk about the stuff in the last video that I didn't actually end up talking about that I said I'd talk about, because I started going on really long tangents of completely unrelated stuff, which is going to happen. I mean, this is supposed to be a pretty organic, unedited kind of videos. Anytime you might see like a little bit of a jump cut is just when I completely stroke out and forget what I'm talking about and just pause for a while. But you're really not missing more than a couple seconds any given time. I'm trying to have these be pretty raw. That was my goal from the beginning. It's not just laziness on my part. But getting back to the source material, talking about dealing with, starting something from scratch, coming up with an idea, getting inspired to do something. That can be really hard sometimes. An art block, that's definitely a thing I hear people talk about all the time. Some of the most frequent questions I've seen asked of other artists and to myself even is, like, how do you get over an art block? How do you deal with feeling uninspired or, feeling like you don't have anything to bring to the table today? Because I have that all the time. I've actually gone almost full years of feeling like I have nothing to offer. I don't, there's no inspiration, there's no drive. I've had depression in the past, and that kind of it's really hard to be like, yeah, let's just go and do it. And a lot of people deal with that kind of stuff. The best, and I think the only way of getting over an art block or any kind of block, even if it's like, oh, I have an essay to write and I don't feel like doing that essay, because, fuck writing essays. Just do it. Like, I should probably take my own advice on that a lot, because sometimes I'll just, today I've got to not make art because I just don't feel up for it. Just do it anyway sometimes, like, especially if you have something that you need to be doing, like a project, or a commission or something that you've got to work on that day, or if you just have set out for yourself, like, oh, I'm going to make art for a certain amount of time a day, and you're feeling really not into it, or you don't have any inspiration, just start drawing, just start drawing whatever. Even if it's just like smiley faces on a page, or like something that's like within your comfort zone, like something that you can draw that thing no matter what. You can feel like crap emotionally or otherwise, and just draw cats or whatever it is you're into, people in that that one pose that you're real good at or whatever. Don't be afraid to do that, just to get yourself going. Warm up is a big part of almost every artist's daily routine. So don't be afraid to sit down, and even if you really, the last thing you want to do is make art, just do it anyway. I know that sounds really, it's not really the answer sometimes people want to hear. They want to hear a magic, oh, you just do this and you'll have your inspiration back. Sometimes it just doesn't happen, but you're not going to draw if you don't draw, obviously. Just sit down and draw something that's super, even if it doesn't look good, it doesn't have to look good, there's no pressure when it's just something in your sketchbook that only you're gonna see, you don't have to show anyone. Just draw something that is really comfortable for you. You can just draw some shapes, if that's all that you have in you, is just draw some shapes. At least you can say that you did something that day, and maybe it will warm you up to do something else, and maybe it will inspire you to do the next thing. Sometimes I gravitate towards people in a similar position, or have a similar body type or whatever. I have a comfort zone of pear-shaped people, I think, and I draw a lot of pear-shaped women. That would be my comfort zone. If I wasn't feeling good that day, or didn't feel like I was up for a challenge, then I draw, a curvy lady. And I can probably do that no matter what, and sometimes it's a struggle, and sometimes it doesn't feel good, but at least you're doing something. whatever your comfort zone is, that's a good place to start your warm-ups for the day. Just, I feel like her ears are uneven, so I'm going to look at this a little bit more straight on so that I could figure that out. I think one's a little bit bigger or higher than the other one. Looking at your work straight on is really important. I work on a flat surface a lot of the time, which I do like. I don't really like those tables that have like a slant to them for some reason, because I always have like such a mess of stuff near me and I need it to be like right on hand. You can't really do that with a vertical table or a slanted table, so sometimes just pick up your work and look at it, especially when you're doing the sketch process, which I didn't do while I was doing the sketch process for this. So now that I'm doing like the second layer of refined lines, I'm looking at it upwards a little bit more for me so that I can see her proportions a little bit better. Just keep that in mind. That's why people work on vertical surfaces, is so that they can see the whole thing. Oh, cars honking always makes my dog bark a little bit. If you hear any noises in the background, there's 2 people in my house right now who are awake, and they're pretty quiet, but if you hear any like ruffling or keyboard tapping or anything like that, that's what that is. My family, or my roommate, my husband, my dog. My husband has a mechanical keyboard, so you might hear that every once in a while. So yeah, she didn't really end up creepy. I must have not really been in as creepy of a mood as I thought I might be this morning when I woke up. I was thinking of doing something kind of drippy, gory maybe, but nope, not so much, not yet anyway. She seems pretty normal. So what I'm doing now is kind of what you guys saw me start with in the last video where I sped up my process. Is that I'm actually using the... Oh no, this isn't mahogany. This is raspberry. So it's kind of a reddish purpley color, gravitating towards these 2 colors together lately. It's a good first and second layer of drawing, I think. And this is kind of just correcting any lines that I didn't like, or, you know, finding that perfect path for the line to take on some lines that I know I'm not going to want to change. I'm going to leave this part of her a little bit alone for right now so that I can go back into this color, the mango color. Oh no, I used tan. Where's that? Oh, I put it way over here. This guy. Resharpen that. This is my sharpening setup. It's actually a little tin that I think had candy in it, and I do a lot of sketching and drawing out in public, so I have a portable little trash can for pencil shavings. I don't know why I have 2 sharpeners. One's better than the other. I think this one's better. And then when it gets full, this is like getting pretty full, I just find a little thing to dump it in, and then I dump all of it in the trash. I don't really have it. Oh wait. Dump. There, so now it's dumped out just as like a shallow tin, and then when I sharpen, if I'm out in public or whatever, I can just bring it with me. I'm not like leaving a mess on a table or something. That would be pretty douchey. So there's that, and then I can just have it next to me at my desk as well, and I don't have to worry about making a mess. There, so down here I need to figure out what exactly I'm doing with this girl, the rest of her body. So we know that she's going to be cropped off at the hip, because that's the point of her, basically. I'm not sure fashion-wise what I want her to be wearing, or what I want her arms to be doing, so we still have a lot of questions that aren't answered yet with this drawing. I'm feeling pretty good about her so far. She's not too interesting, but she's not... There's nothing that's, you know, blaringly wrong with her yet. Yet. I do want her to have little eyeball earrings, though, because that's the one bit of creepy, I guess, that I did end up giving her. Eyeballs really freak me out. They've always been one of my biggest creep factor things. Like, I like them, but at the same time, I'm kind of queased out by them. Which is great. There, so she's still kind of flat-chested. I don't think I'm going to give her like a huge rack or anything. Just maybe like a slight bump. Like that. She's fairly modest. So trying to get back on track to what I was saying, I don't even really remember exactly where I left off in my actual commentary, but oh yeah, finding inspiration, and I kind of touched upon it briefly in the last video, having that folder of stuff that you like. I kind of wanted to expand on that a little bit, because I don't think I was very clear. Gathering images of things that you like, it can be everything from, oh, I really liked this color. I have like just swatches of color saved in a folder. It can be a pair of shoes that you really like, or a toy that you saw that you liked. That's why I love Tumblr so much, because you never really know what you're going to come across. You know, like you follow who you follow, and they put out there what they put out there. And I follow a lot of aesthetic blogs as well as artist blogs. So those aesthetic things actually inspire me a lot. You know, I follow a lot of fashion blogs. I follow a lot of like fashion YouTubers and YouTubers that do makeup and stuff, and that actually is really a good inspirational source, because I do character design the most, and you know, that's people wear makeup and clothes, and you need to have inspiration for that. Especially like if I'm looking for images, I also gravitate towards cultural things. I really love other different cultures around the world, the kind of stuff that they wear, their religions, their iconography, different styles and stuff. I love all that. So if I just find an image that I'm like, wow, that's really cool, like no matter what it is, it could be, you know, a mug or I don't know, something that I think is attractive or cute, I just save it somewhere. Or if I'm on Tumblr, I might like it and just review my likes later down the road for inspiration. That's another good idea. If you're on a site that just kind of saves things for you, that can also be beneficial. I'm really pulling blanks on what to do with her body, which is the same thing that happened with the last drawing I did, the one that's stuck in my scanner right now. Sometimes you just come to a little bit of a moment of what now, like I don't know what I'm doing, and that's fine. Like, that's part of the process. Don't beat yourself up if that happens to you more often than not. It happens to everyone. Doesn't matter how long you've been doing art, doesn't matter who you are. Everyone has those moments of like, well, I got this far, now what? That's usually the point where I'd say, like, do something crazy, do something weird, or go take a break, find something to inspire you real quick. I might look for a shirt somewhere online right now. That's something that I would do. Like, maybe just open up Tumblr or whatever. Sometimes I just Google image search certain things. Like, if I'm in the mood to draw something in a certain style, I just might be like, oh, let's look at Korean fashion, what's going on in that right now, and then find something. Kind of like how with the girl with ombre hair and buns there, I just kind of was like, oh, you know, pastel goth fashion's really cool, I'm gonna go search up that tag and see what I can find, and scrolled through it for a little while, and then finally found, you know, parts of an outfit that I liked, and then I just took inspiration from that. I don't want to like spend forever looking for a shirt. Sometimes when that happens, I just don't put clothes on people, but sometimes you can just start doodling and see what happens. I want to give her like a low, just barely on the shoulder kind of look. I should probably figure out what I'm going to do with her hands first. Maybe I'll do like a clasp together kind of thing. Maybe down low. I don't know, man. I don't feel like I gave her enough room for hands that are going to make any sense. That's one of those moments where it's good that you were doing something in light color, because if you need to backtrack, you could just do it. It won't really show up in the final product or the final edit. It will just be background noise, or you can erase it. All these pictures I usually touch up in Photoshop afterwards, just to get rid of anything that was just blaringly wrong. And yeah, so I'm just gonna bring her arms up, I think. And this is kind of like the messy, scribbly part. Finding her wrists, finding her forearms, making sure that they're a sensible position and length. There, I like that a lot better. It looks more balanced, I think. There was a little bit too much space, I think, in her hair. And now she's got like a cohesive kind of diamond shape, if you can see that. Not that it would have been broken up if her arms were down here, but hands are difficult. We'll work through that once I figure out the rest of her forearms, which aren't too difficult. Get the elbows in there. Oh, we're already at like fucking 20 minutes. I don't even know like what I talk about for that long. Guess I'll find out when I edit. And hands are hard. I think my biggest advice on hands, which I'll probably talk more about in depth in a certain video, is just practice them. Just, you know, use reference, figure out how they work. If you just type in hand tutorial into like any search engine, you'll find so many really awesome tutorials on how artists make hands themselves, and you can find one that works for you. I don't know if I'll do a hand tutorial of any kind because I don't feel like I'm super qualified. I usually just do like a boxy, tapered shape for the hand. I like to keep my hands really simple because everything else is simple, so they have to be speaking the same language. I don't really know what she's doing. I'll give her longer fingers than usual. Trying to make things symmetrical is really kind of difficult for some people. For me, it kind of makes it easier because I have reference on the other side. That's the dog growling. There, so I don't really know what she's doing, but her hands are up. I feel like this one's in a different position. I'll mess with that a little bit more, but I'm just going to line out the parts that I know aren't wrong, per se. I'm going to have to wrap this one up because it's getting close to the 25-minute mark again. And I'm trying not to have these be like a half-hour long each. I personally don't mind long videos. If I'm on YouTube myself, I really enjoy long videos, but I know that that's not everyone's opinion, and that, you know, attention spans are what they are. But I like putting a video on and then doing something while I'm listening to people talk, so I would rather it be long because then I get a good amount of time to myself to do what I'm doing without having to stop and find another video to watch. But not everyone works that way. Some people are, you know, watching every second. And a 30-minute video is a pretty big dedication. And it's really amazing me how short 20 minutes actually feels when you're doing art. Because I'll spend many, many hours on one piece. And it doesn't feel really like 8 hours or whatever. So I'm not really too 100% with these hands. They're kind of lazy. I might decide to do something else with the fingers. But everything else is kind of alright, I guess. That's what we've got going so far. I'm just going to leave the fingers as they are right now until I figure out what I want to do with them. So there's that. That's today, part 2. Again, if you guys have any questions at all, please feel free to ask them. It'll kind of give me some direction on what to talk about in the future. If you guys have any questions in regards to art or anything else, really, I'm willing to answer any questions that you guys have. Again, sorry that I'm a little bit monotone. I'm trying not to be too crazy loud, and I'm also getting used to this setup and everything, so I'm a little bit quieter than I normally would be. But hopefully this has been somewhat entertaining and somewhat useful to you guys, and I'm going to cut it off here and continue in a part 3, I guess. So see you guys in the next one, and have a good one. Bye bye.